Battlefield Waltz, originally released for PS Vita in Japan back in 2014, just got its first official English release. But does this hidden gem still hold up against today's otome and amare games? With 6 love interests and a story of loss and belonging, let's find out if this long-awaited localization is worth your time. Thank you to the publisher for gifting us a game key. And don't worry, the opinions shared here are our own. And while I'll try to make it spoiler-free with a few hints, I'll be sharing clips from the official website and platforms. So there might be some that you would consider as minor spoilers. So please do keep that in mind. Battlefield Waltz throws you right into the action. Lan, a girl trained for her dad in sword fighting, watches her entire village burn in an attack. And in the middle of the chaos, she bonds with a cursed sword that's insanely powerful but comes with some repercussions. Because of this, she gets taken into a military school called Nirvana, where she's supposed to master the sword and prove she's not a threat. Sounds like an intense war story, right? Well, here's where things take a turn. Rather than being thrown straight into battle, Lan ends up in a world of rivalries, alliances, and personal struggles at school. Yes, this is a slice of life in a military school setting. Moving on to the characters, my soft recommendations would be Pash or Lustin, then Abel, then Nike or Tifalet, then Wilhelm. Nike's root gets unlocked once you finish Abel's, Tifalet's gets unlocked once you finish Lustin's, and Wilhelm's root gets unlocked once you finish all 5. First off, we have Abel. He comes across as the untouchable, super strong top student who keeps his distance from everyone. But as you get to know him, you start to see cracks in his school exterior. Abel is voiced by Tomoaki Maeno, known for his work as Lupin from Code Realize, Riku from Lover Pretend, and Red from Taisho Alice. Abel's interactions with Lan are filled with awkward yet sweet moments, showing a softer side to his personality that he rarely shows. As the story unfolds, Abel is torn between his personal struggles and his duty to protect what matters most. Abel's root really digs into themes like love, loyalty, and figuring out who you are, making it more than just a romance. If you're into stories where the main character grows through challenges and the stakes are high, Abel's root will keep you hooked. Then we have Lustin. At first, he seems like the guy who's all about partying and sweet-talking everyone he meets, but there's a lot more going on with him. If you like characters who surprise you with their depth, Lustin's story has plenty of that. Lustin is voiced by Kazuki Kato, known for his work as Kento from B Project, Louis from Despera Drops, and Masamune from Ike-sen. Lustin's root mixes funny moments, like some awkward but hilarious misunderstandings, with a growing sense of seriousness as the stakes get higher. By the end, everything comes together in a way that feels satisfying, blending action, heartfelt scenes, and a deeper understanding of who Lustin really is. It's definitely a journey worth taking if you enjoy stories with layers. Moving on to Pash. He's the guy at school who claims to hate women, but mostly just doesn't know how to talk to them without getting super embarrassed. Honestly, watching him stumble through conversations and turn bright red is both hilarious and kind of sweet. Pash is voiced by Kaito Ishikawa, known for his work as Lucien from Even If Tempest, Marius from Tears of Themis, and Dante from Pio Fiore. Pash's root is as straightforward as he is. He doesn't start out as the strongest or most confident, but his growth is what makes his story stand out. The romance between Pash and Lan is pretty wholesome. Lan helps Pash believe in himself, and Pash learns to fight for what matters, not just for himself, but for the people he cares about. If you're into stories about underdogs stepping up and finding themselves, Pash's root is definitely worth checking out. Then we have Tifalet, a magician who runs a clinic near the city port. Tifalet is voiced by Tetsuya Kakihara, known for his work as Shin from Amnesia, Fran from Code Realize, and Senna from 9-Rip. At first, Tifalet seems like the classic cool and mysterious type, with a sharp tongue that sometimes gets on Lan's nerves. The romance, though, felt a bit too fast. Tiferet isn't afraid to admit his feelings, and his protective side comes out in some pretty sweet ways. But what kept me hooked is the mystery surrounding him. Without spoiling too much, his backstory ties into the game's bigger plot, and there are moments where you'll genuinely feel for him and what he's been through. Tiferet's route also has some big twists, and they hit hard, especially as you start piecing together the clues. The good ending is heartwarming, while the bad ending takes things in a much darker direction. Next is Nike, the odd one out. He's with the medics, isn't great in fights, and spends more time making herbal remedies than swinging a sword. Lan and Nike bond over small things, like baking and sharing meals, which makes their connection feel natural and sweet. Nike is voiced by Kensho Ono, known for his work as Yukimura from Ikesen, Lint from Court of Darkness, and Toma from Gakuen Club. Nike's calm personality and helpful nature had a complicated past. And as Lan gets closer to him, she starts uncovering parts of his life that challenge her to think about trust and forgiveness in a whole new way. If you're into stories with a slow reveal and heartfelt moments, Nike's route is for you. Then we have Wilhelm. His route is unlocked only after you finish the other characters' stories, so it feels like a big deal when you finally get there. At first, Wilhelm comes off as a bit of a jerk. He's super confident but also doesn't trust anyone, which leads to a lot of drama. Wilhelm is voiced by Yuichi Nakamura, known for his work as Luca from Arcana Familia, Kazuki from Starry Sky, and Ringo from Uta Pre. There are some standout moments in his route, like a sweet scene at a lantern festival where he starts to show his softer side. But it's not all lighthearted. There's a lot of tension, and his story has some pretty heavy stakes. The romance with Wilhelm can feel a bit clunky compared to the other routes, but his story makes up for it with the emotional depth and the questions it raises about finding your place in the world. Every route reveals different pieces of the puzzle. Some love interests, like Nike and Wilhelm, connect to the bigger mystery, while others focus more on personal stories and romance. The pacing can be weird. Some routes start slow and then suddenly drop huge plot twists, but then again, I do think it comes with a territory in the slice of life genre. Up next is the lovely heroine, Lan. To be honest, I expected Lan to lean more on the tough side, especially since, early on, she's introduced as this protector and having been trained with a sword since she was a kid. But given what happened to her, I understand how she's grieving and trying to find her place in a world that's new to her. Lan herself is a solid heroine. She stands her ground and fights when needed, but in certain routes she's way too naive, which can get a little frustrating. Oh, and it's not the naivety that's frustrating, it's the inconsistency of it in each route. That said, I'm still glad that she's the center of the story, and not some fodder for the love interest's development. Then we have the supporting cast. And let me tell you, there are a lot. Some are pretty stereotypical, and for me, that's okay, because they were meant to feel my ire, at least in some scenes they were in. For the most part, I enjoy the diverse cast, and I love how they challenge and support the main cast. They even have their own CGs, so you know how significant they are in the story. P.S. I feel like Ignis and Akasa should have their own route, to be honest. It still has the undateable side character that every otome has, including modern titles. I do want to add that the game has an extra layer of gameplay. It has the usual flowchart, and in this game, it's called Chronicles, and it does help a lot if you're playing the game blind. And during the common route, there's an exploration phase where you can get to know not just the love interests, but also the supporting cast. The game also has a shop where you can spend coins to unlock certain CGs, and just know more about the character outside the main story. Coins can be acquired by completing endings. The last otome that I played with a shop feature was Nor 9, but I do consider it one of the older otome games already. Modern titles usually just unlock the features right away, but let me know in the comments if you know a recent release with a shop feature. Moving on to the visuals and audio, the art is stunning despite the awkward poses and weird outfit choices. It can be a bit inconsistent, but I enjoyed it overall. I love how even the supporting cast have multiple outfit changes and fighting stances. And remember, the cast is huge, so kudos to the art team. The art style is a bit dated compared to recent releases, but I find that I do not mind. The background music and soundtrack is alright. It definitely helped set the tone of the scene. But what I enjoyed the most is the voice acting, but I may be biased because I love the lineup. For some, it's early on in their careers, while for others, it's one of the limited games they lent their voices to. And maybe that's an advantage of an older otome. Battlefield Waltz is a game that shines more with its characters than its story. If you're looking for deep, political, or strategic battles, this might not be the best pick. But if you like character-driven stories with romance, fun side scenarios, and a mix of drama and adventure, Battlefield Waltz has enough to keep you entertained. So, what do you think? Does Battlefield Waltz hold up to modern titles? For me, with the character-driven narratives alone, Battlefield Waltz might be a hidden gem worth experiencing. And in this video, I'll be sharing my thoughts on one of the best character-driven otome games of all time. It's a good one.